In Philly, they call it the process. But in all sports, it's known as the process. There's actually two going on in the NBA. There's the Toronto process. We'll call that the Canadian process. And then there's the Philadelphia process. So let me just say this, is that even with dynasties, and I don't see the Raptors, let's start with the Canadian process. I don't see the Raptors as a dynasty. But even with dynasties, all-time great teams, it's baby steps. John Wooden took 16 years to win a title at UCLA. Coach K, 6th year, first Final Four. San Antonio Spurs dynasty, Duncan Pop really started year 4, 5, 6. Shaq and Kobe, 4th year. MJ Pippen, 4th year. UConn women's basketball, the most dominant team in American sports, 10th year. Baby steps, baby steps. Not good. Rebuilding, draft picks, recruits, sort of good, playoff good, eliminated early, eliminated less early, conference title, championship lose, championship win. Baby steps. So let's talk about the Raptors in Cleveland. So the Raptors, Canadian process. They were bad. Then in 2013, they get into the playoffs. Lose first round. Next year, get into the playoffs. Lose first round. Next year, they win a couple playoff series. Losing the conference finals, semis. This year, though, number 1 seed, number 1 team in the East, look unbelievable. Offense is better, and they are, to their credit, the Canadian process is working. 6 years in, this is the deepest team they've had. It's the best team they've had. It's the best coach team they've had. The Canadian process is working. But we also know the regular season and playoffs are different, and what works in the playoffs? Stars and situational late-game excellence. So guess who the Raptors played last night? Maybe you've heard of him. LeBron James. Yeah, LeBron was pretty good last night. It was one of those statement games for LeBron. He dropped 35. He had 17 assists. He didn't have a turnover. Did you see LeBron late in the game? Oh, he still owns these baby dinosaurs. Let's be honest about this. The playoffs are about stars and situational late-game excellence. I got Braun, playa. You got DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry. I got next. Did LeBron retire? Did he evaporate? Well, was he traded? Oh, he's still in Cleveland. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's why LeBron James is still the asteroid that's going to wipe out the dinosaurs again. Last night had a playoff game feel late, didn't it, kids? The Canadian process. Baby steps, baby steps, baby steps. It's still LeBron's conference. Now, let's shift gears. Let's talk about the Philadelphia 76ers. Philadelphia 76ers, before the season started, Las Vegas came out and said they'd win 40 games. I said, 40 games? I mean, Embiid's on minute limitations. Ben Simmons hasn't played yet. And J.J. Redick's past his peak. They don't have enough three-point shooters. No. They proved me wrong. I lost a bet. Eventually, sometimes I do. This was one of them. So let's talk about the process. And we talked about the Canadian process, which, by the way, always starts with a cold Molson. This is a Philadelphia process. Probably start with a cheesesteak. So let's go to their process. God-awful, 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 just awful. And this is, hey, they're fun. They got 2 really good players. They got good role players. A damn good coach. Front office making good moves. Awful, awful, awful. Not nearly as awful. And now officially pretty interesting, especially in the East. But like the Raptors, who were served a dose of reality last night, let me be the bad guy and serve a little dose of reality to what's happening to the Sixers very soon. It's called the playoffs. They lead the NBA in turnovers. Their best player gives you about 31 minutes a night. They have no playoff experience. By the way, in March, let me list their wins. Memphis, Charlotte, Brooklyn, Knicks, Brooklyn, Charlotte, Charlotte. The good news, if you play Charlotte in the playoffs, you're going to sweep. In fact, I'm predicting now you will sweep Charlotte in the playoffs. Oh, wait, they're not in the playoffs. The last 10 games for the Sixers, they are 7-0 against non-playoff teams. They are 0-3 against playoff teams. They are also the third worst fourth quarter team in the NBA. What did I say 3 minutes ago? Stars and situational late game excellence will decide. On the season, they're 1-2 against playoff Indy, 1-2 against playoff Milwaukee, 1-3 against playoff Boston, 1-2 against playoff Cleveland, 1-3 against playoff Toronto, 50-50 against Washington, but John Wall's been out most of the year. Listen, the Canadian process met reality last night. The domestic process will meet it in about a month. It's baby steps. But both Toronto and Philadelphia deserve a tip of the cap. They do. You can look at the Sixers' record against all those playoff teams, as just noted, and I think people in Philadelphia know we're not winning the title this year. We may not win a first-round series this year. This morning, they'd line up and face the Pacers. I'd take a good series, but I'd take Indy. But in the end, Wooden, Gino Auriemma, Coach K, Pop and Duncan, Shaq and Kobe, MJ Pippen. In fact, look no further than the man that owns the Eastern Conference, LeBron James. Cleveland, non-playoff playoff. Miami lose finals, win finals. Cleveland lose final, win final. It takes a long time. Both Toronto and Philly headed in the right direction. Baby steps. Congratulations to the Raptors who lost, but they're deeper, better than they've been ever. And congratulations to the Sixers. They're all buying in. I was told years ago, Mike Dunleavy, he coached in finals, Lakers, Blazers, Clippers. He told me something years ago. And I used to do a show, and I was in Portland. I hosted the Mike Dunleavy show. And he told me this story years ago. He goes, listen, man. He goes, in the regular season, I said, in the postseason, you need stars because it's the same teams. You can't fool anybody. And everybody's equally rested. But he said, in the regular season, if you play hard, if you buy in, if you hustle, if you listen, he goes, you can win 45 games in the regular season. He goes, now you'll meet a wall. You will meet a star-loaded team in the playoffs. But what I like about Philadelphia, they got an edge. They're well coached. They play hard. They're not there yet, but you can see it happening. And as a sports fan, it's fun. They're fun to watch. I mean, I'm out here in Los Angeles. They're not winning a bunch of games. Sixers have better talent right now, absolutely, than the Lakers. Embiid's a real difference maker. I mean, Embiid's a great player. It's fun. Sports isn't just about winning championships. The build, that's why men are into architecture and build buildings. The build, the process in sports is fun. The Sixers and the Lakers right now, they're two of the most enjoyable watches in the NBA. They really are.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.